Blood soaked into the sand faster than it should have, dark pools forming beneath the fallen. The smell of iron hung in the air, mixing with the acrid stench of gunpowder. Bodies were everywhere, the enemy closing in like wolves that had tasted blood. The call had already gone out. Retreat, hold position, wait for air support. But they all knew no air support was coming. And then she moved. Lieutenant Aria Velasquez pressed her back against the crumbling wall of what used to be a village school. Her breathing was steady, her rifle cradled like a trusted friend, its barrel scarred from weeks of firefights. Dust clung to her sweat-soaked hair, and a thin trickle of blood from a cut across her temple ran down her cheek, drying into a streak like war paint. She looked down the hill where 427 Rangers, the very last forward element in this cursed valley, were now trapped in a bowl of death. No one saw her jaw tighten as she listened to the distant crackle of orders over the comms. Hold position. Wait. Conserve ammo. Their commander's voice was firm, almost detached, as if reading a weather report. Aria knew those words would get them all killed. Every instinct in her body screamed that she had minutes, maybe less, to change what would become a massacre. Her rifle's bolt was slick with dust, but she cycled it, feeling the solid mechanical certainty of it. In the distance, muzzle flashes danced in the twilight like cruel stars, marking where enemy snipers waited, patient and hungry. Aria's hands didn't shake, not anymore. She had been 13 the first time she saw her father's casket draped in a flag. She still remembered the weight of her mother's sobs in the silence of that funeral, the heat of the summer sun pressing down on the back of her black dress. From that day forward, she had sworn she would never be the one left behind, never be the one powerless. That oath had led her here, to the Rangers, to the rifle in her hands, to this moment where everything might end. Her first deployment had been a blur of dust and fear. She had learned quickly that the world did not care for hesitation. That lesson had hardened her. Each mission had chipped away pieces of who she used to be, until there was only this quiet, steady presence. She had lost brothers and sisters in battle, men who joked with her in the mess hall one day and were gone the next. The last one had been Corporal Jensen, who had thrown himself in front of a wide blast meant for the convoy. The memory of his burnt boots in the sand still haunted her dreams. The call came again. Hold position. She didn't answer. She saw the enemy tightening their perimeter. Their confidence was growing. If they broke through this last line, there would be no one left to stop them from overrunning the entire supply route behind them. She could see it play out in her mind, like a prophecy. The screams, the retreat, the flag taken down. Aria's rifle rose, slow, deliberate, the way a priest might raise a chalice. Her breath slowed, the sounds of chaos around her collapsing into a single thread of focus. Through her scope, she saw the lead enemy spotter crouched behind a wrecked truck, his radio pressed to his mouth. She exhaled. The man dropped before he could finish his call. The first shot broke the valley's rhythm. Then came the second, then the third. Not frantic, not panicked, but each one is measured as a heartbeat. Every pull of the trigger was a sentence written in steel. The Rangers, pinned down in near despair, saw the sudden shift. Enemies that had seemed invisible moments before began to fall one by one, their careful positions collapsing under the invisible hammer of her precision. Word traveled fast across the comms. Someone was out there. Someone was clearing a path. The morale of 427 men began to harden again, like steel plunged into fire. But Aria knew she had crossed a line. She had defied a direct order, broken the chain of command. If she lived through this, she would face court-martial, maybe worse. Yet as she reloaded and shifted position, she realized something with startling clarity. She didn't care, because if she stopped, they all died. Hours bled together, night falling like a slow curtain over the valley. The moon rose, pale and distant, watching as the fight turned. Aria's shoulder ached. Her finger was raw from the trigger. But still she worked, moving from shadow to shadow, denying the enemy their victory. By dawn, the enemy had begun to withdraw. Their dead littered the field, their morale shattered by an unseen ghost that had hunted them through the night. When relief finally arrived, the Rangers were still standing. bruised, bloodied, exhausted, but standing. Arya emerged from the ruins last. Her face was pale, her lips cracked, her rifle blackened from overuse. The commander found her there, and for a long moment he just stared at her in silence. The weight of what she had done hung in the air like smoke. She expected anger, recrimination, maybe even arrest. Instead, he stepped aside, clearing her path to the medics, and spoke only once quietly. "You saved them all." Word of her defiance spread, first among the rangers, then across the base, and eventually beyond the valley. The story was retold around campfires, in hushed tones and with quiet pride. Men who had been ready to die swore they had seen her silhouette against the moon, unmoving, patient, unbreakable. Later, when she was called to answer for her actions, she stood silently before the tribunal. She did not plead, she did not defend herself. She simply stood with the same unshakable calm she had held that night. When the verdict came, no charges, no reprimand. The tribunal members stood as one. It was not written protocol, but it was respect. Her words after the hearing became legend. Honor is not obeying orders that get good men killed. Honor is coming home with them. In the months that followed, recruits pinned her name to their helmets. Her actions became a case study in courage, in what it meant to trust your own judgment when the cost was everything. And though she never spoke about it again, she returned to the valley once more, long after the fighting was over, and knelt in the dust. She stayed there for a long time, until the sun dipped below the horizon, whispering the names of those who had not made it back. Some battles are fought with bullets, others are fought with silence. Arya had fought with both, and she had won. If you are watching this from anywhere in the world, remember this: courage is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let fear decide your fate. Tell me where you are watching from. Share what this story means to you. And join us here again for more stories of those who stand when standing costs everything.